The Unlimited Light B main is taking to the water. Now, the way they do it in the Unlimited Lights, 4 boats have already been sent into the final, but it's an 8-boat final, Mark, and that means there's room for 4 more.
That would be the math, and we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 boats that could be out here in the B main. We'll see if all 7 answer the call. Right now we have 4 of them out on the race course, and we'll kind of run down quickly who would be eligible. Right now we're looking at Joe Turner and the Pacific Rim Brewing as he comes through the upper turn. Again, we'll see them circling the Unlimited Lights course, but on the final lap before they come down for the start, they'll head all the way up to the west end of the Unlimited's course, and we will see them come screaming down the race course to the starting line. The boat we're looking at right now
is headed up there.
Is actually, both of them are heading up there right now, and we were looking for a minute ago at Red Hot. That's Mike Webster's boat. He is now in the north turn, the west turn, and Greg Hopp coming up the backstretch as well in the Mike's Hard Lemonade. No, that may be Brian Perkins. We'll have to take a look and see if that's Brian Perkins. He is supposed to be in the B main. The Mike's Hard Lemonade is already into the final.
Now the 5th boat is coming onto the race course. 4 of these boats make their way into the final for the Unlimited Lights. So if you're the 5th boat in a 5-boat race, you'll be the only guy eliminated here, Mark. No, there comes number 6.
Now we got number 6.
Okay.
So we will sort out who is who.
So the field is growing. We had 7 possible.
This is Michael Flaherty in the Miss Boat Electric.
And he would be one of the favorites to win the whole thing, but he's had a lousy weekend. Jumped the gun, got in trouble, lost some points, and now he's going to have to finish in the top 4 here in order to make the final in the Unlimiteds. And here comes our 7th boat. So all 7 are now on the river and running.
That's the Bill Strain boat, Misdiagnosed, that just entered the race course. We're looking at him coming on the race course up the backstretch at this point. And Joe Turner looping through the infield. So we are looking for our 7-boat B main for the Unlimited Lights. And 4 of those boats will head into the final a little later this afternoon.
We have the Red Hot, the Red Dot, the Pacific Rim Brewing, Misdiagnosed, Boat Electric, that's the UL 72, Michael Flaherty. Power Punch, Will Muncie is eligible to run here. And No Excuses, Mike Sudlin. He did not appear yesterday. We wanted to know what his excuse was. Nobody ever told us.
But we didn't get an answer.
Now we're forming up, and as Mark explained, these boats run on a smaller race course. They actually turn through the middle of the Unlimited course in order to get the length they want. But as they are starting a heat, they go up further so that their run down to start finish doesn't come right around the corner here and onto the line, which would be right at the exit pin of their first turn if they were not to use them. I really made that a confusing mess, didn't I?
Well, needless to say,
if they were to start on their little race course, the milling would take place at a turn, and the start-finish line would be immediately when they got out of that turn. So instead of doing that, they'll run down to the other end of the Unlimited course, which gives them a much longer straightaway to come down and make the start. After that, they'll use the smaller course.
Looks like Brian Perkins is on the inside in the Miss Red Dot. Joe Turner was outside next to him, although it may be that Will Muncie or the other red boat, which is the Miss Boat Electric, the 72, has slid inside there as well. So we'll see as they come up the backstretch, heading for that longer turn.
The first 3 boats going up the backstretch are all boats to watch because Brian Perkins in the Red Dot is certainly a contender. Michael Flaherty shouldn't even be in this B main, but he ran into a little bit of bad luck yesterday. And Joe Turner has shown us tremendous boat speed in that older, narrower boat. So keep an eye on those 3, and we won't be surprised if we have a pretty good 3-boat race here, even though 4 boats are going to go into the final.
Well, that'll be the place to watch, is that 4th and 5th place race, and here they come with 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a great start by Flaherty, and that boat really responded for him. When he came off the turn and pointed it down the river, he put the pedal down and it really took off. So a great start by Michael Flaherty in the UL 72. Probably the class of the field here, Mark, and leading as he should be.
And Brian Perkins on the inside is going to lead him through that turn. You can see the yellow and some white boat, and he is going to lead him off the turn, but Flaherty is right on his hip, and Joe Turner is in there as well. So we look at Michael Flaherty now coming off the turn, and he is in first first place ahead of Brian Perkins in the red dot.
You saw him drive right around Perkins. This boat is capable of doing that. It is a superb turning boat. Now the red dot coming up behind him has a little more horsepower, and you'll see that become a factor right here as Brian Perkins will pull up beside Michael Flaherty, and he will take over the lead as they come into the second turn of the first lap. This is going to be a deck-to-deck battle for a while, Mark. I can see it coming.
Yep, they're going to go deck-to-deck all the way around as they cross the line. It's a dead heat at the end of lap one. This is a 3-lap race, and you look at your red hot and Joe Turner in the Pacific Rim Brewing, a dead heat for third and fourth place, and it's Will Muncy in the Power Punch that is in fifth.
Now remember, we're just racing for 4 spots here. The top 4 go into the final, so it may be pretty well decided if the field can stay stretched out like this. But the first 2 guys are young boat racers having fun in some outstanding race boats, and here they come again. Off the turn, it's Flaherty swinging to the outside, and it looks like Perkins has lost a motor again.
Oh, that's too bad. Brian Perkins down and dead in the water. The red dot goes by him and Michael Flaherty as well, and you've got a couple of boats there with Joe Turner and Michael Flaherty, and now Will Muncy has moved his Power Punch boat into that 4th transfer spot.
He has indeed, and all he has to do is keep running. If anybody were to lose or have a motor problem, it could cost them a spot in the final heat right now. They'd all be smart, Mark, just to keep running.
Absolutely, and the red hot rather, with Webster has fallen back a little bit behind Michael Flaherty. And Joe Turner is still buried in his rooster tail as they come by. He's only about 3/4 of a rooster tail behind. In 4th place, those 4 transfer spots, Will Muncy in the Power Punch, and then it's a long ways back to our 5th and 6th place boats.
Joe Turner is running on the inside, and from what we've seen of that boat this weekend, it's probably not the best place for him to be. He does not corner quite as well as the newer, wider boats. If he can swing to the outside and keep the RPMs up, he can make a run at them, and he may be moving across that rooster tail wake right now to do that. But it looks like the first 4 positions pretty well decided if everybody can just keep it running one more lap.
Yeah, they don't have to race, and you got Joe Turner and Will Muncy back here in 3rd and 4th place. We're looking right now at the UL 72 Miss Boat Electric and Michael Flaherty, and he is going to come around the turn here. He's at the apex now looking for the checkered flag, and he's going to get it as he comes around and crosses the finish line at the end of lap 3. Mike Webster in the red hot, he is going to be in 2nd place. He transfers to the Unlimited Lights final. And here comes Will Muncy. He did take over 3rd place from Joe Turner. He will transfer to the final, but Joe is in it as well as he finishes in 4th place. All of those guys get the checkered flag. They've got to go back and refuel and get ready for the final.
So for the 2 boats still on the backstretch who are going to come around and take the checkered flag, their weekends are complete. They can go on the trailer and head back for Seattle or wherever home may be. And we're going to have a dandy 8-boat field in the Unlimited Light final. Michael Flaherty, as we pointed out, Brian Perkins as well. Drivers that you wouldn't expect to see here in the B main. Perkins apparently has run out of engines and luck, Mark, and it's unfortunate that we won't see him in the final. He certainly would have been one of the favorites.
That would have been a barn burner. This final is still going to be a terrific race because we do have the boats that won all of the heats earlier this weekend for the Unlimited Lights. The Mike's Hard Lemonade, Bob Estes Graham Trucking, Paul Becker in the Critical Logic, that 30-plus-year-old Unlimited Light hydroplane, and Al Karstensen in the UL6 of BCS Racing. Those guys already in the final, and now we've got 4 more. The UL2 Red Hot with Mike Webster, the Pacific Rim Brewing with Joe Turner, the Boat Electric with Michael Flaherty, and the Power Punch with Will Muncy. An 8-boat Unlimited Lights final is coming up in just a little bit.
When you add Michael Flaherty's UL72 Boat Electric to that 4-boat field that was already in the final, that gives you 5 boats, any of whom could win that thing. So that's going to be a great race that we'll be able to bring you just a little bit later on.
Unfortunate looking just a moment ago at Brian Perkins on the top of his boat right now. We're looking at Mike Sadlon and his No Excuses boat.
And not making excuses, but limping back to the pit area after unfortunately failing to make the A main or the final here in the Unlimited Lights.
Well, he and Bill Strain trailed the field for the entire race, and once Brian Perkins' engine gave out, there were really 4 boats were well ahead, half a lap or so ahead, and we're looking at Brian's boat right now.
He just took a walk back and looked at that propeller area, so it may be one of those situations. He's has some concerns with, He's looking to see if there's a propeller down there.
Well, we're going to let's take a look at the video, and we'll see what happens when Brian goes down. All of a sudden,
if all we see is the boat slowing down, that won't tell us a lot, but sometimes when a propeller goes, you can get some indication of that. It's already gone. He's coasting to a stop as Flaherty goes by him. But when a driver walks to the back of the boat and looks down where the propeller should be, that is sometimes a telltale sign of what might have happened. Oh, he's lifting the cowling off, so now we're back in the engine department. Back to that kind of a problem. Or he may be checking the other end of the shaft to see if that's still connected.
Yeah, that sometimes is a problem too. If the shaft from the gearbox out to the prop shaft is, or the gearbox from the gearbox to the motor, some of those break as well. So our B main for the Unlimited Lights is in the books, and we've got a final for the Unlimited Lights, and we've got a Heat 3B and a final for the Unlimiteds. Still to come, the Atomic Cup 2006, and we'll be right back.
Chiefs RV brings you Inside Racing.
Kevin Aylesworth started his racing career at the age of 12. Legendary Unlimited driver Bill Munsey supplied Kevin with his first racing boat. He worked his way up from 1-liter hydroplanes to the Unlimited Light class. Aylesworth logged an impressive 15 top 5 finishes over a 3-year period in the Unlimited Light Racing Series, including the World Championship title in Valleyfield in 2004.
Back on the Columbia River, it has been a day, as we said, of thrills and spills. We believe that everyone involved is okay. Some of the boats are not. We're going to have to wait for just a moment to see which teams are able to get equipment back on the water for the running of Heat 3B. Let's go down to the pit area now for more from Scott Reister.
Well, Kevin Aylesworth, one of the boats, the U-21, you can take a look. I tried to get an interview, but they are just too busy. They are frantically trying to repair that front section. You can see them working on the canard as they are trying to get that ready to get that boat out on the water and try to get some points to get into the final. And in fact, a bit of charity right now. If you can look over here, Dave Vilwach's boat, the Heat winner from just a few moments ago, he actually helped out the Aylesworth U-21 by lending them some assistance on their rudder. So trying to help out the Aylesworth boat to maybe increase the level of competition as we head towards that final. And will we know if that boat can be ready? Well, they just have a few more minutes, so we'll have to see if it gets out on the water. Back to you. Well, Scott, we're down here in the heart of pit road. That rerun of Heat 3B, and one of the boats that was dinged up in that really messy earlier heat was Steve David. Your wing and the rear wing was really messed up bad. What has your crew done to kind of get that boat ready and back on the water?
Well, the 13 had hit us down here real hard and cracked the left sponson, and then when he blew over, he went over our canopy and took out the rear wing and everything.
Boat is going overhead. That's all we have for us. We have to dodge these boats as the cranes move them into place. Steve Dave will be one of the drivers trying to score some points. Heat 3B. He's already qualified for the final, so he's just trying to get a nice test run in as he gets ready for the upcoming final heat.
Pretty good shot of the damage on that sponson.
It sounds, Mark, like the 13 went right over the head of Steve David, and he was very lucky it didn't take out more than the wing. That was a very, very close call.
Yep, I'm glad. Glad they're all okay, and that might not have been video we wanted to see.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Thrills and spills are fun, but not if anybody gets hurt, and that could have been a bad one right there.
Yep. 5:40, our tentative start time for Heat 3B.
On.
Back at the start-finish line, Mark Allen along with Steve Montgomery. We're inside 5 minutes and the restart of Heat 3B of the 2006 Atomic Cup. And we're looking at Stephen David with a brand new set of tail feathers, a brand new wing, and a smile on his face.
Supposedly a near miss for this boat, as apparently another Unlimited hydroplane in the air went right over it and through the wing. So Steve is very fortunate to be out there. Let's take a look at the competition as it will line up here for the restart of Heat 3B. You will see Steve David, the very, very popular driver, as well as he should be, the veteran out of Lighthouse Point, Florida, driving a boat owned by the citizens of Madison, Indiana, the U6 Oh Boy Oberto.
FormulaBoats.com 2, probably not a contender to get into the final. Mike Allen will be in the cockpit, and he will be the second of our 4 boats out on the course for the rerun of Heat 3B.
Area Codes Cellular sustained some damage in that incident that caused the stoppage here. We think they'll have the front end patched up enough that Kevin Aylesworth can come back out in the U-21. We should see the black and gold boat on the water.
And the U-99 is Lake Ridge taking to the course here in just a moment. We've got 3 of the 4 boats on the course right now. That's driven by a young man, Jeff Bernard, out of Gig Harbor, Washington, and one of the 2 boats owned and in competition here with Fred Leland's fleet.
Now, the other 2 boats at the bottom of the list we don't expect to see. The U-13, of course, is in the process of being righted in the pit area. It's full of water, badly damaged following the flip that ended the original running of Heat 3B. We don't expect to see Greg Hopp. We understand that he has been disqualified from the rerun because after the accident happened, he did not see the red flags or red flares and did not shut down his boat. Part of the excuse apparently is that the radio had gone out in his boat. Normally his team would have told him to shut down. For whatever reason, he did not shut down in time. The officials have DSQ'd him, and we are not going to see Greg Hopp here in the rerun. We're also watching for Jeff Bernard. The Lake Ridge Paving has not yet come out of the pit area.
And let's take a look at the drivers we will have in Heat 3B restart. We've got Stephen David in the U6 Oboy Oberto out of Lighthouse Point, Florida. The Oberto is out of Madison, Indiana.
And here's a look at Mike Allen, who's been driving a couple of boats here as of late. Apparently he's going to do all the driving for the Formula Boats team the rest of the way.
Kevin Aylesworth in the U21 area code cellular, and got the front end patched up with a couple of pounds of 200-mile-an-hour tape, and he's on the race course, and he'll be ready to go as well.
Coming down in front of us right now, Jeff Bernard is trying to get his boat started. He's just leaving the pit area, and it is not spooling up properly. We have to hope that Jeff is able to get it up and running. That's a live shot of Jeff just outside the pit area. A lot of smoke, which isn't necessarily a bad sign, but a great sign would be to have that thing sit up on its tail end and take off. Going through the starting sequence again, making a lot of smoke. A little bit of extra fuel burned in the back end. That's still okay if you don't fry the wings, but not looking real great for young Mr. Bernard at this point.
Nope, he's got just about 33 seconds to get up on plane and on the race course. Well, he's on the race course. Yeah, that white buoy right there is the outside edge of the race course. So he's on the race course. That's half of what he needs to do. He needs to get up on plane here.
That boat is starting. He's going to go.
Yep, he's going to be okay.
He is on to the race course down by the Blue Bridge, and we will have a 4-boat heat, and we're glad to see Jeff with one more opportunity to race here. That boat's been pretty steady for him. He's really done an outstanding job since making his debut for Fred Leland at last year's Seafair. Up and running.
We're looking at Jeff Bernard, now looking at Stephen David in the Oboy Oberto as he works his way of the Blue Bridge turn, and Mike Allen is just behind him. They are now at 50 seconds. You can see the clock up in the upper left-hand corner of your picture. The boats will form up on the backstretch and make their way around, getting the lane that they want. Usually it's number 1. Sometimes that's not exactly the case, and Jeff Bernard leads stretch at this point. Out ahead of him is Kevin Aylesworth. Stephen David now puts a head of steam on the Oboy Oberto as he pulls up next to Jeff Bernard.
We sort of have 2 classes of boats here. You would expect that the Oboy Oberto and the Formula Boats would go to the head of this thing and put on a battle for us, and that perhaps Kevin Aylesworth and Jeff Bernard would be working on those 3rd and 4th spots. That's the way it would handicap on paper. We'll see if it works out that way. As they turn down toward us, here is the run for the start at 5 seconds. Plenty of shape for the time, and Bernard is going to leave him across the line.
And he's on the outside. Stephen David next to him on the left. On the inside is Kevin Aylesworth, and sandwiched in the middle is Mike Allen in the FormulaBoats.com number 2. Kevin Aylesworth lagging behind as they head for the Blue Bridge turn.
Boy, Jeff Bernard has made great starts all day in that boat, but he's way on the outside, and you can see, as we expected, the 2 guys out front are exactly where we thought they would be. It's going to be Mike Allen taking control as they head up the back straightaway. You see the red FormulaBoats.com 2. Steve David is just to his right in the Rooster Tail. They are running 1st and 2nd.
And 3rd place is Jeff Bernard. He's in the Rooster Tail of the Oboy Oberto. And then farther back, it's Kevin Aylesworth in the U21 cellular code, area cellular codes. And we've got Mike Allen in the lead as he comes to the apex of the west turn.
Now remember, Mike Allen is driving a boat which raced here 2 years ago as Miss Budweiser. This was Turbine 5, one of the best race boats boats in the history of the sport, so he has a lot of equipment under him. And Steve David giving him a pretty good tussle as he sets sail in pursuit, crossing start-finish line at the end of lap 1.
It's Mike Allen, then Steve David, then Jeff Bernard, and trailed by Kevin Aylesworth. Steve David, second place finish here, and he would easily be in the final, we think, in terms of the math. Mike Allen and the Formula Boats has got a little tougher way to go to get into the final. We shall see. He comes off the turn at lap number 2 in first place.
Mike Allen comes into this race with 0 points in this boat. I don't think there's any way it can make the final. However, the other boat that he drove, his teammate's boat, the 5, has a shot at it if the points shake out right. So we may see Mike again later today. Keep that front end down, Michael. We don't want any more boats in the air today. He got it a little bit loose right there. Steve David behind the rooster tail. You can't see him, but you will as they turn toward us now. And he's right there. We got a great 2-boat race now coming down to finish lap 2.
They're making a great boat race out of it. On the inside in the red boat is Mike Allen in the Formula Boats. Outside is Stephen David in the Oboyo Verdo, end of lap 2. And it's about a 1.5 second difference between those two boats as Jeff Bernard crosses the finish line, end of lap 2 in third place.
An absolutely beautiful picture of a gorgeous boat ride as the boats run downwind and down current here in front of us. The boat rides are absolutely smooth. Going up the backstretch, quite a different story. So a dramatically different race course back there than it is right here. Now your leader is headed up the backstretch for the last time. Mike Allen loves driving these old Budweiser boats, and who wouldn't? They are among the best ever. He has a nice rooster tail lead now over Steve David. Steve David in great shape to make the final, even with a second place finish. He might be smart, Mark, just to sit there and finish.
Well, you know, I thought he might be making a run just to make a good show of this as he went up the backstretch, but I think Steve is going to settle for second place. They've only got about a third of a lap left to go as Mike Allen comes off that last turn buoy and heads down for the finish line, and Steve David just off the turn now. Jeff Bernard well behind him, and there's Stephen David. He will cross the finish line second. Mike Allen finishes first in the FormulaBoats.com. And Jeff Bernard finishes third in the Lake Ridge Paving, the U99.
You know, Mike Allen had a lead, albeit not a big one, in national high points coming to the Tri-Cities. He stumbled a bit getting started here and wasn't scoring any points. But now if he's going to do all the driving for his team the rest of the way, that's almost an unfair advantage over the other guys. If you have 2 boats, that's a pretty good leg up on that national high point championship.
Yep. That's the way it works if you've got 2 boats and you can hop into one or the other of them. I believe the Chip Hanauer did that from time to time with the Muncie racing team as well.
Certainly an outstanding driver who's going to be a major factor in this sport as we watch Kevin Aylesworth, another youngster with a very bright future. You saw him last year here in the Unlimited Lights. His dad and some friends from the San Diego area purchasing the team of Dr. Ken Muscatel, and Kevin getting a chance now to run the big boats. It has looked good. I think that boat is riding as well as it ever did for the doctor, and obviously this young man is going to be an outstanding driver.
Well, a quick recap of the finish order in Heat 3B looks like this. FormulaBoats.com. 2 with Mike Allen driving. First place finish. The second place finish for Stephen David and the U6 Oboyo Berto, the U99 Lake Ridge Paving, a third place finish, and a fourth place finish for Kevin Aylesworth in the U21 Area Codes Cellular.
We begin to see how the points are playing out. Steve David has 1,000 points, so there is no doubt that he's going to be in the final. Beyond that, we'll have to kind of do some totaling for you here. Dave Vilwalk with 800 appears to have flipped and made his way back into the final. Jimmy King with 869 is certainly there. J.W. Myers on the U10 looks to be in the front row of the final. Beyond that, we got to do a little bit of math, and we'll do that for you in a few minutes and let you know just who will be in our final heat.
We'll be back in just a moment. We'll take a look at the final heat, see if we can do the math on our fingers, and tell you who's coming up. Stick around. We'll be back.
Mike Allen just won Heat 3B. After the day you've had, that's got to feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a great win for Formula and the guys that stayed up all night working on this thing, putting it back together. Race course is pretty rough. There's a lot of wind down the back straightaway. It launched on me here in this first turn and got pretty close to Steve David, which I'm sure probably put a little bit of scare into him. But back straightaway is bumpy, and that far turn is going to be tough for this final with the amount of sun that's there.
Tell me again what happened between you and the Oberto, the Steve David boat. Was there some words exchanged there at all?
No. It's just, when you go into this turn, this is a very rough turn to begin with. And when a boat launches out, there's not a whole lot you can do. You just try and keep it in the same mark. And, when it lands, bring it back so you don't, interfere with anyone else. Hopefully Steve's okay.
All right. One of the crew members here said that they thought that both boats, both the U5 and the U7, would be in the final. How great news is that if that's the way it works out?
It's good news. I'm not sure about the 7, though, really, because that's just one heat win. It's the only heat we've had all weekend. So I really couldn't tell you right now which if the 7's in, but we know the 5 is. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mike Allen. There is no provisional heat because of all the delays. So if he's in, we'll have to wait and see how the points tabulate out. Otherwise, his teammate Mike Weber will be in the final race. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Scott. We do have the point totals, and we'll total them up for the first 6 boats on your screen. The Oboy Oberto, a pretty good day for Steve David, 1,000 points. Jimmy King of the piston-powered U3 Conover Insurance, 869. Dave Villwalk with a couple of wins and a flip, 800 points collected for his efforts so far today. The U10 Miss Solutions Plus, J.W. Myers, and 768 points. The U5 FormulaBoats.com, 652. And Kevin Aylesworth makes the final on the U21 area code Cellular with 563. And the Miss Beacon Plumbing, Jean Thierret, looking for 2 wins in a row. He won in Detroit 2 weeks ago. He's in the final with 527 points, just squeaked in. And so those would be the top 6 boats in this final.
That would be the 7, including the Miss Beacon Plumbing, which would be a trailer boat. We were handed a note apparently from the officials that had the boats different from that. So we're going to insert just a bit of caution here. This is the way we have the scoring, and this is the way we believe they stand right now. We have seen a different list, so we're going to check into that and try to get to you the official word, okay? We think this is your field, the top 6 and the 7th boat. That'll be the trailer.
And we have Unlimited Lights coming out onto the race course right now for their final. First boat out is going to be Will Muncie's Power Punch. I think there's like 2 other boats out on the race course right now with 4 minutes and 15 seconds, 14 as you see in the upper left-hand corner. Paul Becker and the Miss Critical Logic on your screen right now. This will be an 8-boat final, for the Unlimited Lights this afternoon. And they are getting set 4 minutes now before their start. You're looking at Joe Turner going up the backstretch. On the outside of him is Al Carstensen of the BCS Racing. And they will come through the short turn. This is the racing turn for the Unlimited Lights. When we get to racing that final lap before the start, they will go all the way up to the top of the race course and come down for a flying start across the start-finish line for their 3-lap final. The Unlimited Lights final will be 3 laps. Joe Turner down the front straightaway. As we watch him in the Critical Logic. Paul Becker, a boat that is 30-plus years old as he comes through the north part of the race course, slowing down quite a bit right here. Get my directions crossed up. That's the west end of the race course.
Paul Becker, an amazing story. That old boat is running probably better right now than it has any time in its 30-year career. You would expect a boat that old to be a back marker at best, if still operable. And I'm sure part of the secret is that Paul drives it very, very well. He knows that boat. He knows when he dare put the foot down, and he really gives us some exciting racing. 2:40 now to go to the start of the Unlimited Lights final.
Paul is an airline pilot, or has retired as an airline pilot.
Has a great family operation down there, as so many of the Unlimited Lights do.
Now Paul Becker is still coming down the front straightaway. Al Carstensen cut through the infield and now has secured a lane number 1, at least between the 2 of them. Bob Estes and the Graham Trucking coming by the front straightaway. We're watching the boats go around that big yellow buoy. When you see those buoys from a distance, it's hard to tell exactly how tall they are, but when the boats go by them, those big yellow turn buoys are in fact bigger than the boats themselves.
2 minutes now, and that's a long time for able to run clear up to the end of the unlimited course and then make that flying start as they come down toward us. Then, as the boats did earlier that we saw, they will retire to a smaller course and run sort of the right half, if you will, of the unlimited course, which is right in front of us.
Now we have one of the boats that is way up at the left end, the west end of the race course, and he is going to have to come down and make that whole course turn, and that's Will Munsey in the power punch. Everybody else is already formed up on the backstretch, so we'll see if Will elects to cut through the infield or if he's just going to keep speed up and go all the way around the turn and then catch up with the boats as they come up the backstretch.
1 minute, 10 seconds now to the start. Will Munsey has a long ways to go, and he's going to have to hustle even to catch the field, so he's probably going to be back a ways. But the usual suspects are in pretty good position, meaning people like Michael Flaherty. Keep an eye on the bright red boat, the UL-72 boat electric, moving up now into position, and he's going to be in good shape for the start, as is Greg Hopp on his left in the UL-1, the Mike's Hard Lemonade, happy-go-lucky, and you always have to keep an eye on Paul Becker in his yellow boat. He's on the outside right now, Mark, and it looks like he might get caught in some traffic here before the start.
There may be a little bit of lane going away, and we've got Al Karstensen on the outside as well, and now Will Munsey starts to catch up with the rest of the field as they form up with 22 seconds left to go before the start.
It looks like that might be Joe Turner, who's been leading the field around. He's out in the middle of the pack, and now they're turning toward us. Here's a beautiful flying start by the Unlimited Lights. 8 boats and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lined up here as they run down toward us. It's going to be a great start on the inside for Greg Hopp in the yellow boat, the UL-1. The clock ticks down. They are legal. Michael Flaherty in pursuit, and we are racing in the Unlimited Lights final.
And Al Karstensen way on the outside. He's in pursuit too. Bob Estes of the Graham Trucking is hidden in the rooster tail, but it's Greg Hopp and Michael Flaherty, the Mike's Hard Lemonade and the Miss Boat Electric, as they lead him down into the turn. It's Greg Hopp out in front.
Up the backstretch, a beautiful sight we've seen many, many times. The UL-1, Mike's Hard Lemonade at full song. That big block screaming. This is just a beautiful riding race boat. It's been with us now for several seasons, and we've seen this scene many, many times of the yellow boat and the red one hooked up in a great battle. Flaherty now is going to try to use boat speed on the outside. He'll drive into the turn a little bit deeper and try to make up some of the disadvantage on Greg Hopp. But Greg Hopp and makes a great turn coming down to complete lap 1.
End of lap 1, Greg Hopp a full rooster tail lead over Michael Flaherty in the Miss Boat Electric. Al Karstensen in the BCS Racing is second, and about another rooster tail behind him is the Graham Trucking and Bob Estes. But the lead boat already into the first turn as they head around lap number 2.
Paul Becker not able to give chase because he and Joe Turner back here have good, fast race boats, but they are smaller tunnels, good straightaway boats, Mark, if they can get some smooth water. They cannot, running back here behind Hopp and Flaherty, so they are relegated to 3rd and 4th position. It looks now like Greg Hopp has things all his way.
All his way indeed. A full 2 rooster tail lead over Michael Flaherty and the UL-72 Miss Boat Electric. Greg Hopp coming around the apex of turn number 2, and this will be their second time around. That means it's the white flag lap, and it's a long ways for Michael Flaherty to make up. However, last year we saw this in exactly the same position. Michael Flaherty ended up winning because Greg Hopp jumped the gun. We don't have that problem here today, Steve.
We know even with the naked eye that they were well back. They had a couple of seconds to mess with at the start, so it was a conservative start by everyone. Now he does have to finish 3/4 of a lap, does Greg Hopp. All of these boats have experienced mechanical issues at one time or another. They are running big block V8. Infallible, but it looks like Greg Hopp has things very much in control. Flaherty still giving chase, though. He is less than a rooster tail back as they scream up the backstretch on the Pasco side for the last time.
You can see a little bit of traffic that they both had to go through, and Greg Hopp lost a little ground even though he was to the inside, and Michael Flaherty went to the outside. But here comes Greg Hopp, Steve, around the apex of the turn. He's looking for the checkered flag, and it will fly for the Mike's Hard Lemonade Happy-Go-Lucky.
Greg Hopp in first place. Michael Flaherty, the outstanding driver of the The UL 72 Boat Electric will finish second here at the Atomic Cup for Unlimited Lights.
And looking around at the top of the turn again, we've got Al Karstensen, but right on the inside is Bob Estes, and Bob Estes is going to take third place. Karstensen, I'm sorry, that's not Karstensen.
That was actually a back marker that he was coming by. He was lapping right at the finish of the race. So third place goes to the orange and blue boat. Fourth will be the next boat coming by here, and that is Paul Becker. The familiar single wing boat. You don't see any of those anymore. That's the way boats looked when they first started adding tail feathers way back when. Getting a look at Greg Hopp now. He has the lid up, and he's going to go make a victory lap and give a wave to the folks over on the Pasco side, and eventually he'll be around here where we are at start finish as well. This is something that was started by Greg's father, Jerry, back when he drove this boat. Won a race in Detroit, opened the lid, cruised around waving to the crowd, and said, hey, that was fun. We're going to do this from now on. So a victory lap for those of you at home over on the Pasco side. You have Greg Hopp coming by right now. Your winner in the Unlimited Lights here at Atomic Cup 2006.
And we did find Al Karstensen. He is dead in the water, and he's about 150 yards shy of the entrance to that final turn. He was having a great race with Bob Estes, but went dead in the water, and so Estes in the Grand Trucking UL 33 ended up taking third.
Also, we have a confirmation now that our intrepid scorekeepers here on the television tower had the points exactly right. And so the list we gave you was correct. The officials apparently had a little bit of a hiccup in their system, but once our ladies went and explained to them what the situation was, they agreed that we were right. So the final heat, as we gave it to you, is correct. The start time is 6:30 now. So at 6:30, the final heat. That might be the latest I remember in quite a few years of doing this, but what the heck, it's a beautiful evening here in the Tri-Cities. What could you be doing that would be any more fun than this?
Now would be the time to hit the hot dog stand. Everybody get their dinner out and get ready to watch the final heat here in about 25 minutes.
I would imagine the concessionaires are loving this. And you know who else was really the big beneficiary of the delay was Mike Allen. Of course, it didn't work out so great for him because his boat ends up being on the beach for the final heat, but he probably wouldn't have made that first heat had it not been for the delays this morning. Hi, Greg. Greg Hopp going by, giving us a wave out the window. Waves to the officials on the stand as he goes by start-finish.
Now, these boats aren't made to be driven standing up waving.
Exactly. If you ever sat in the cockpit of one of these things, first of all, you wouldn't be a particularly big person because there isn't a lot of room in there. Greg is not a small guy, and I can tell you that he pretty well fills up the available space in there just sitting down where he's supposed to be.
But he's giving the crowd a wave, and he's very excited. Another Unlimited Lights win under the belt for the Hopp Racing family. Mike's Hard Lemonade Happy-Go-Lucky, UL1, the 1 designation, indicating that that boat is the defending national champion from 2005.
Scott Reister will have a word with Greg Hopp, but before we do that, perhaps we can fit in a break here, and that should give him time to get Greg back up onto the dock and to our guy. So let's take a break and come back with the winning driver, Greg Hopp, in the Unlimited Lights. More to come from the Tri-Cities.
Chiefs RV brings you Inside Racing.
Based on race wins alone, Dave Villwock is arguably the best driver on the circuit. With 50 career victories, Villwock trails only Bill Munsey and Chip Hanauer. While driving the Miss Budweiser, Villwock won 34 races, 4 Gold Cups, and 6 national championships. He has also won 12 races driving Fred Leland's Pico American Dream.
Greg Hopp, the Hapo Community Thunder Cup champion this year. How's that got to feel?
Oh man, it feels great. You know, we've had our struggles throughout the weekend with starter issues and all kinds of stuff, and won both our prelims, and in the final I knew it was going to be a drag down knockout final between us and the 72 boat over there, and it was an ocean basically out there, pretty rough. So just got a great start, and then brought the Mike's Hard Lemonade Happy-Go-Lucky home first.
That'll work. And you say you had some struggles, but everyone watched the Unlimited Lights. It looked like you were pretty much the man to beat the whole time.
Well, I'd say On the inside, there's a lot of internal struggle. You know, like I said, we had some motor issues, some starter issues, and I got the best crew on the planet, and the boys put everything together, and we went out and took it to them.
You're actually racing a limited boat this year, also the 100. I know you didn't make the final there, but does that take away at all from this victory?
Oh, it doesn't take away at all from this victory. It's just a sad set of circumstances with the Unlimited. I was winning the last heat, and then unfortunately our radio went dead and somebody crashed. We ran a lap under a cautionary deal we shouldn't have, and unfortunately got disqualified. Otherwise we'd be in the final there, and I think I had a pretty good boat to beat there too.
All right, he certainly did, but 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Your Thunder Cup champion for 2006 is Greg Hopp. Now I go back to Mark and Steve.
Chiefs RV brings you Inside Racing.
U37 driver Gene Theoret is the winningest Grand Prix class driver in the history of the class, with 43 victories and 6 national championships. A second-generation racing prodigy, he entered the Unlimited class in 2005 and won 3 of the 7 races entered, driving the U8 Unlimited hydroplane. He is the 2006 Gold Cup champion.
Yakima Nation's Legends Casino brings you Legends of Racing.
Chip is the gold standard. Technically, he's amazing. To watch him make a start or psych out his competition, he's simply one of the best drivers ever. And he is so technically flawless that it's just a joy to watch him race. And I think we miss him on the race course. It'd be great to have someone like that back out there.